Vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, is one of the most quietly indispensable nutrients in human health. While other vitamins like C and D dominate the conversation, B6 rarely enters mainstream discussion, despite playing a fundamental role in more than 100 enzymatic reactions, many of which are foundational to life itself. It doesn't have the glamorous reputation of boosting immunity like vitamin C, nor the cultural notoriety of vitamin D in relation to sunlight and bone health. Yet, in biological terms, B6 is nothing short of a biochemical powerhouse, just one that operates in the background, largely unnoticed and vastly underappreciated. At its core, vitamin B6 is a coenzyme. In its active form, pyridoxal 5-phosphate (PLP). It functions in a wide range of critical biochemical reactions, most notably in amino acid metabolism. PLP is involved in transamination, the swapping of amino groups between molecules, decarboxylation, the removal of carbon dioxide from amino acids to make neurotransmitters, and deamination, the removal of amino groups for energy use or disposal. These reactions are fundamental not just to breaking down proteins, but to synthesizing entirely new ones. Without B6, the body cannot properly build or recycle the building blocks of life, proteins, and cannot efficiently generate crucial neurotransmitters such as serotonin, dopamine, GABA, and norepinephrine. That makes it central not only to physical repair and muscle growth, but to emotional regulation, cognitive performance, and mood stability. One of the more overlooked aspects of B6 is its impact on the nervous system. Many people suffer from anxiety, depression, brain fog, irritability, or poor sleep, and never consider the possibility of a subclinical B6 deficiency. The brain is heavily dependent on finely tuned neurotransmitter balance, and because B6 is a direct cofactor in their synthesis, even a marginal deficiency can ripple outward into serious cognitive and emotional symptoms. There's growing evidence suggesting that many psychiatric or stress-related conditions could be linked, at least in part, to impaired B6 status, yet it's rarely tested in clinical settings unless someone is showing obvious neurological damage or severe deficiency symptoms. B6 also plays a surprisingly important role in detoxification and inflammation. It participates in the metabolism of homocysteine, a sulfur-containing amino acid that, when elevated, is strongly associated with cardiovascular disease and neurodegenerative risk. PLP helps convert homocysteine into cysteine, which the body uses to make glutathione, its master antioxidant. Therefore, B6 doesn't just support mental health and protein metabolism, it's integral to the antioxidant defense system and long-term cardiovascular protection. A deficiency can raise homocysteine levels and increase oxidative stress, quietly fueling chronic inflammation that underlies nearly every major modern disease. Yet despite all this, vitamin B6 remains one of the most neglected nutrients in the supplement and food industries. One reason is its modest daily requirement. For most adults, the recommended intake ranges from just 1.3 to 2 milligrams per day. That's a tiny number compared to, say, 500 milligrams of vitamin C or 1,000 IU of vitamin D. So manufacturers have little incentive to market it heavily, and the public tends to ignore it altogether. But what's often missed is that B6 is water-soluble, easily depleted by stress, medications such as birth control pills, isoniazid and hydralazine, alcohol, smoking, and even common dietary patterns like high sugar or low protein intake. Moreover, many elderly people and those with chronic inflammation, liver issues, or kidney disease can have impaired conversion of B6 into its active form, leading to functional deficiency even if dietary intake appears normal. Another hidden truth is the striking variation in bioavailability between different forms of B6. While pyridoxine hydrochloride, the synthetic version found in most multivitamins, is the most commonly used, it must be converted into PLP in the liver, a process that not all individuals perform efficiently. Those with liver dysfunction, genetic polymorphisms, such as certain variants of the ELPL gene, or chronic illness, may not activate B6 adequately. Supplementing directly with the active form, PLP or P5P, can be significantly more effective for restoring true functional sufficiency, especially in people with neurological symptoms or poor methylation status. Ironically, although B6 is often ignored, there is also fear-mongering about it in high doses. Some caution is warranted. Very high chronic intake, typically above 100 to 200 milligrams per day over long periods, has been associated with reversible nerve toxicity. However, this is often due to inappropriate use of high-dose pyridoxine, not PLP, and most people today are at far greater risk of deficiency than toxicity. The real danger is not supplementation, but systemic neglect of this essential nutrient in public health messaging, clinical practice, and dietary recommendations. Vitamin B6 deficiency is not rare. It's often subclinical, meaning it doesn't show up in obvious outward signs until years later, and it's frequently missed even when symptoms appear. Fatigue, irritability, anemia, poor immune function, insomnia, nerve pain, and depression are all potential symptoms. Yet few physicians think to connect them to a lack of B6. This disconnect leaves many people caught in a cycle of escalating symptoms and medications without addressing the underlying biochemical imbalance. In sum, vitamin B6 deserves far more attention than it gets. It is central to neurotransmitter synthesis, energy metabolism, immune function, cardiovascular protection, and hormone regulation. It can subtly but powerfully influence everything from your mood to your cardiovascular health to your resilience under stress. And yet it is barely discussed, lightly regulated, and often ignored both in practice and in public education. In a world where mental health disorders, chronic inflammation, and fatigue are on the rise, failing to appreciate B6 is a mistake with profound implications. The science is clear. Without enough B6, especially in its active PLP form, the human body cannot function optimally. The secret may not be in megadosing or magic pills, but simply in recognizing the silent workhorses of nutrition that quietly keep us alive, balanced, and resilient.